Megaforce. The tagline I've seen associated with this line of toys is the Army of Hidden Forces. Kind of vague. I don't really understand what it means other than a lot of the vehicles had opening bays and things like that where you could put smaller die-cast vehicles inside, and these guys are really cool. It's kind of an underappreciated toy line. It still says Kenner, but Tonka actually owned Kenner in 1987 onward, for a time before Hasbro came and ate all of that up. But so I assume that's where the die-cast kind of element came in, and these were really cool. They're just small military vehicles, and today I have one from each side of this tiny conflict. That was the Triax Army and the V-Rox Army, and I'm not really sure if one is supposed to be kind of the heroes and the villains or anything like that. There doesn't appear to be much of a judgment on either side. It's just they each have kind of a unique look and color scheme. We've got Tartrax from the Triax Army, which is an armored transport, and Brimstone on the V-Rox, which is a tactical missile carrier. So I figured I'd start with Tartrax because I always kind of favored the Triax Army's look, and they tend to be kind of the tan and olive drab side, while the V-Rox was more of a gray and kind of lighter colors. But I always thought that Triax looked a little more military to me, so I kind of assumed they were the good guys at the time. It comes with a small kind of surface-to-air missile launcher, looks like. Unfortunately, the artwork is damaged on the one that I have, but you can see most of it. Nothing really spectacular there. On the back, you always got kind of a write-up on the vehicles. They're pretty thorough on these. It says that these are 195 millimeter guns. Here it lists them as machine guns, which you can see the size of the 195 millimeters is around what, 7.5 inches. So that's a humongous machine gun. And the big gun up here is supposed to be a 250 millimeter battle gun, which is what, almost 8 inches. So pretty heavily armed, but you can see the scale these things are supposed to be with the illustrations of the people inside. They're huge machines. Down here you've got the cross cell that shows more of the vehicles, usually like Triax and V-Rox on either side, and these were kind of a step up in size. Like I remember this one actually kind of flipped open and had a platform that raised up that you could hook the small vehicles into with pegs on the bottom, and they ranged from jets and helicopters to tanks and missile launchers. And let's open this guy up. I remember last summer that my cousin also had quite a few of these, and we had pretty impressive pretty impressive amount of units to put out and fight each other. It was pretty great. So the big cannon here is a little little warped. It just snaps into this part here. It's got a nice design, and the whole bottom is die cast. And they would generally come with at least one or two of these small, which are completely metal. Smaller units, except for the guns or missiles or whatever on them, were usually plastic of some kind, but they kind of fit on there. Well, unfortunately, you kind of had to fire two at once, which looks a little silly. And the wheels don't roll, which might have hurt it in the long run when you look at things like Micro Machines. But this one rolls just fine, and the back opens and the gun acts as kind of a slide, so you can I do remember you can already see like the stress line here from folding this ramp down, so you didn't want to do that a whole lot, but things did fit nicely inside each other and just kind of locks in with friction there. So you end up with this nice looking kind of giant tank of sorts that spawns lesser tanks out of it. And, the guns on the front pivot independently, and as well as the large one does a 360 on the top. As you can see here, there's a window to kind of give you the amount of scale for these things, and even more cannons down here. And next up is the VROX Brimstone Tactical Missile Carrier. So you have a missile that's obscenely large, small tank, and the launcher. Huge crew, and the warhead is 2,500 kilograms, high explosive, elimination of enemy armor. I guess when your missile is 3 or 4 times the size of the tanks you're shooting at, it's a pretty good bet. So let's open this guy up as well. So there's the base itself. This one is mostly plastic except for the center here. Not much as metal work on these. Now these are kind of odd. They were these just kind of light tanks that also were made so they could stand up and, I guess, shoot over things. Is that the idea that was? I don't know. I don't know how you'd get a tank in that position anyway without some kind of lift. And that enormous missile. So hopefully the spring still works on that, but you can see the scale of a tank next to this warhead is pretty horrifying. And I don't know if you really want to park your tank underneath of a warhead that large, but if that's your prerogative. So it doesn't look like the firing mechanism works anymore on these old Kenner things. I'm not sure if the spring just goes bad on these or what. But I mean, it's been sealed all this time, so I'm not sure why the spring would go bad, but perhaps it's rusted just from moisture, however it was stored. That's too bad. I wanted to fire a giant missile at another tank. Here's everything all together. You can gotta get a sense of how great these looked when you had a whole lot of them together of all the various sizes, because they got quite a bit larger than this too, especially the aircraft were just massive, but they were a lot of fun, and it was great to open them up again and roll them around. That's Megaforce, 1989, very end of the 80s. Thanks for watching.